Hey everybody, before we get started with this podcast, I wanted to say thank you to the Lewd Dudes for coming over while they were on tour. Check them out and please listen to their music on Spotify at The Lewd Dudes. That's LEWD Dudes. And then they're also on Twitter and Instagram as well, so go and give them a like, follow them. They're based out of Austin, Texas, which is really cool. And I really appreciate them coming over. As far as House of I goes, you can check us out also on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify at House of I. And we have our album Alienation up there along with the 2 new singles we just released, Shame and Nothing Is Fine. Hope you guys enjoy the podcast, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Peace. All right. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Cheers.
Lewd Dudes.
Salud. Muchas gracias.
All right, so I guess before we start getting into the questions, let's have you guys kind of introduce yourself and what instrument you play and whatnot and all that jazz. Jordan, if you'd like to begin.
My name is Jordan. Thank you. Jordan Hughes. I play drums and do vocals, backing vocals, some lead vocals on tracks, and yeah.
And my name's Riley, and I play the bass guitar, and I sing sometimes.
Hell yeah.
I'm Scott. I play piano and synth.
My name's Andrew Riefenstahl, and I sing, play guitar, and love it.
My name's Rankin Fetzer. I sing and play guitar as well.
Hell yeah.
Nice
Well,
to meet y'all.
Yeah, definitely nice to meet you
Thanks
guys.
for having us.
Welcome
Yeah.
to Florida.
We love Florida.
Do you?
Florida's been a blast. Yeah, we fit in here.
All of Florida.
Yeah, for real.
How different is it from Texas? I always thought it'd be similar.
They're kind of like cousins in a way, I feel like.
Kissing cousins?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
They would be.
That's fair to say.
Yeah, I think the beaches differentiate Florida from... If you look at the inside of Florida, it's basically like Texas, but you guys have the beaches, so it's like way cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Depends on the beach.
True.
Yeah, I've only been to San Antonio in Texas, and I was young too, so I don't really remember anything crazy about it. But no, I remember it was cool, and there was definitely like diversity, because like here, you got like Hispanics and stuff like that, and like some places in Florida is like only white people or whatever. And we're Hispanic, by the way, except for Jaron. Jaron's also Caucasian as well.
You didn't notice I'm white.
But it was cool. It was funny going to a place where everyone thought that you were Mexican, and I'm Cuban. So I was like, no, I'm Cuban actually.
Bueno, si quieres hacer Toromente en español, podemos hacerlo también.
No, let's not do that. Do you speak Spanish?
I do, yeah. I lived in Central America for a while in Spain.
Where? I'm sorry.
In Barcelona, in Spain.
No fucking way, dude. So she's wearing a Barcelona jersey right
I
there.
saw
I
that,
see it.
yeah.
I saw it in one of the pictures too of y'all's Insta. I saw her.
He's
Yeah,
a
man.
Spurs fan. He's a football
You're a
fan.
Spurs fan?
He's a little
Get outta
salty.
here.
Come on,
Get the fuck
we
outta here, dude.
we got beat, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Okay?
So you guys started in 2017.
Yeah,
That's
sounds
what
sounds right.
That's what I read.
Is that what it was?
Have you guys I guess how long have you guys been playing music for, all of you? I mean, I'm sure different, but
Well, Jordan and I started in a band in 6th grade called Clorox. I played drums, he played guitar, and that was
Role reversal.
yeah.
Role reversal. Yeah.
And then we started playing with Andrew in high school. We knew Scott, but
I played guitar, but I was shitty at it. Absolutely awful. For like 10 years, I told people I played guitar, and I still don't really know how.
So is keys your primary? in
Yeah,
what you
well
started
now I didn't know how to play them when I joined the band. I'd moved to Texas from California, or back to Texas. I'm from there originally, and they were all in a band, and I wanted to be in a band. So I was like, "What instrument don't you have?"
so this is your first band.
Yeah,
yes,
Oh shit.
we
They
tell
give me
him-
shit.
We tell him that all the fucking
I've been in this
time.
band for 4 years, and they're still like, "Oh no, shut up! It's your first band." You don't know what you're talking about.
Damn, that's cool though, man. Fuck yeah. So from California to Texas.
Yeah, well, I'm from Texas originally, so I was doing film stuff out there.
Oh, okay.
okay.
Are you guys all from Texas?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We all, the 4 of us, went to high school together, and then
Shit.
Rankin lived next door to.
From Houston. They're all from the FW area, but I'm from Houston. I met them when I moved to Austin. For like 6 months. We were neighbors, and then I just started jamming with these guys, and so I got to know them.
Yeah, we started a little block party band, and he was our neighbor. He liked to party with us, and he's like, "I'll play guitar." We're like, "All right, hop in, dude."
Oh yeah.
That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, so it's just basically a bunch of friends playing music together.
Yeah, that's how it all started.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's awesome, man. That's cool. And
that-
then, sorry, go ahead.
And that's how it still is, honestly. You know, like
Right.
I think
okay,
that's
good.
one thing that kind of differentiates what we're doing is like we're not here really for anything else than just to have fun, play music together.
Right. And that's kind of how it should be, right? If you're not enjoying yourself, why the fuck are you doing it, you know?
True.
Yeah, we've been playing, well, Ellie and I have been playing together for about 10 years, 10, 11 years, and, you know, we've had people come in and out. Like, for example, Jaron just joined us, like a year ago,
Yeah,
you know?
something like that.
Yeah. But, like, anyone that we have brought in has been, like, kind of a friend of ours, you know what I mean? It's not, like, a random person or anything like that. It's, like, I kind of have to, like, connect with you on that level first, and then musically, like, all right, well, let's see how that musically works out. So that's cool, man. So what inspirations do you guys kind of, like, bring together to the table?
Oh, we all kind of have different inspirations when it comes to the music. For myself, like, I grew up listening to a lot of classic rock. My dad would play, like, Phil Collins, Genesis, Peter Gabriel, The Cars, Led Zeppelin, and then Tom Petty is, like, a big influence of mine. And, hey, we're in Florida.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's for me.
Yeah. For mine, I guess musical inspirations. When I first started playing guitar, I think like I went straight for like the riffs, like, and it was like everyone learns "Smoke on the Water" at first, you know. So I had like that first year of learning that, and then when just for like I guess guitar inspiration, then I really got into like blues and funk and you know, just anything from like Buddy Guy and Jimi Hendrix to like, you know, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and then like I had a Metallica phase, so like, you know, I could always
So pretty much
Rock out.
rock and roll.
just rock and roll,
Yeah.
yeah. That's for me, yeah.
Oh, for me, this is what makes us. I think what brings a lot of originality to us is that they're definitely primary songwriters, but I'll sneak a track in here and there.
Right.
And for me, it's like I'm more of the indie, you know, pop punk, alternative, like post-hardcore, emo. The Fest has always been like a destination place for me to go. Gainesville. I love all the bands that
for
always
real?
come through there.
Oh,
But
shit,
I've never
cool.
made the track, you know. One of my biggest bands that I'm a fan of right now and have been for a few years is like Free Throw, and like he's way into them at the moment as well. But like growing up, it was like Modest Mouse and the White Stripes and things like that. So I feel like I bring a little bit more of that indie. Like my like when I think of a guitar part and bring it to these guys, they always elevate the shit out of me because I play guitar like one style.
Right.
And I'm like, guys, I wrote this. It's cool. Usually they're like, hey, that sounds cool. Let's elevate that and let's add to it. And then I'm like, oh, neat. So like off the new record, it would be like Marriage Story is like the one that I wrote kind of with Rankin, co-wrote, but Andrew latched on and just everybody brought the music up, you know,
Right.
elevated it. So
Yeah, I was actually gonna ask about that too. Like, so there's 5 of you guys. Like, how does a song usually come into play here? Like, who's writing what? And
I think Andrew's the star of the show when it comes to like lyricism and melody. He's really good at putting together catchy songs,
Right.
You know? And he'll bring that to the table, and all of us will kind of pick it apart or add to it or bring our own little styles to it and smoke a bowl or something and bring some funny lyrics in. So
it's pretty collective then, is what you're
yeah,
saying.
we're always
Very collaborative.
Yeah, we're always like working together on.
we just on the way here, Rankin was driving, Andrew's sitting co-pilot navigating, and just busted out the Google Drive and just went to all the demo folders of all the stuff that he's worked on or made with these guys or me, and we were just jamming new, like old new, that we were like, oh, when we get home, we're going to work on this one. But he's always tracking something and then sending it to us, and like it goes from there kind of.
Right.
Yeah, and he just pulled all those up on the way over here, and we were like, holy shit, we
Just
forgot
said
we
that.
even played that, and we put out a record 2 weeks ago, and now we're just like, shit, we need to get home so we can track some demos and get the next one out, you know?
Keep it going.
Yeah.
But then also, like, when it comes to all the other songwriters in the group, like, Rankin brings a really great element, and Jordan too, as he mentioned, and it's actually all three of us that start out songs. Each person will bring a core piece, and then everyone's really collaborative in that they're open to feedback, and nothing's really set in stone.
Right.
And the best tracks that we produce are generally ones where we are all giving input on them. Sometimes there's songs that are like very, like one person or something, but then it's like when we go to record that the magic sort of erupts and
Right.
all the new sounds find their place.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel like that's also the best way. Like that's like how you get like the true sound of a band as well. You know, I'd like to get to that place with us, for example, where it's not just like one songwriter, everything's kind of already written, and then like the band learns it. It's like having like the the collaboration between everybody. Like it really makes like the true sound of the band. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's pretty dope. So let me ask you a question then. So in terms of like songwriting, right? Do you have like specific, let's say like folders for like, I'm gonna like, I don't know if you play any other bands or anything like that, but like do you keep like songs like to yourself and then you go, this one actually works better for like the Lewd Dudes, for example, or is like everything kind of like going into this band, for example?
I like this question.
Yeah, I think that a lot
holding out
of,
on
if it's
us.
a really good song, and I think it's probably going to go to the Lewd Dudes because they like it,
Right.
and they want to hear it fully produced, and then we want to get it all the way there. As for my like solo stuff, like there's some songs that are probably too like touchy feely for the guys and make them cry, and they're not really and they don't. I've seen them bawling. I've seen them in the back room crying, and then they'll come out and be like, nothing's wrong. I don't like that song. No, I'm just playing, but definitely I always think of the Lewd Dudes first,
Right.
and then myself second, just because. But I'm also very proud that I have that second option in my back pocket, and not all the songs are gonna make it to the Lewd Dudes limelight.
Right.
I'm of the opinion that every musician should have that solo side, so they can get like exercise their demons and get that
Exercise.
shit out.
I agree.
Well, one thing that we really wanted to make sure we weren't doing when we started this project was becoming like a band that takes themselves way too seriously. Like,
Yeah.
there's already so many of those in the world, and
Yeah.
like instead we wanted to focus on being fun and partying and inviting and
Friendly. Yeah.
or just not taking ourselves seriously, like realizing that music can just be like a fun time. It doesn't have to say some like giant profound statement every single time.
Right.
Sometimes it's just about hanging out with your friends and having fun.
Good
Yeah,
call. Yeah.
I so like some of the bands that I really like let's say like Radiohead, for example. It's interesting I don't know if you guys know them or like them or whatever, but like they took themselves super seriously in the beginning, it seems, and it's funny like to hear them now talk about that, like their past, and say like we took ourselves way too seriously. Like it's kind of ridiculous. Like we thought of ourselves like so high, and it's just like we're all human beings here. We're just trying to make art, and if people dig it, and like ultimately we're just trying to have a good time.
Dude, it's weird actually that you say that, because I feel like when COVID hit and all the bands like had to stop touring and stop playing and everything, even like the biggest bands, the biggest like people that have been out there on the road for like 20, 30 years, everyone's just like, holy shit, like that just all got taken away from us, and we're just as human as everybody else. So it kind of like brought the humanity to the fame of the music scene, and I think that everyone kind of had to like relate to each other a little bit more. So
Right. I'd like to say, like, for example, in our scene here, and I'm gonna ask you guys about your scene, but like in Tampa, I feel like we kind of like it's already like a family vibe, but like I feel like now with everything going on, like people seem to be like, it's more like, oh, this is like we're so appreciative, like to be playing again, to like be able to like go fucking see bands play and like go see our friends play and whatnot. So yeah, I was gonna ask you guys, how is the Austin scene? I mean, I've heard so many great things about it. I mean, how is it?
There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of musicians, like a lot of
competition.
musicians in Austin. But I feel like everyone we've come in contact with for the most part has been super cool for the most part. Like,
everyone there is trying to have a good time, like no one's there competing against each other. Everyone wants to help each other out, and then that's one thing that we love doing as well. Like, for example, in Tallahassee, the band that opened up that was their first show ever.
Oh shit.
And last night it was a bunch of like 18-year-olds, 17-year-old kids that like first show at a venue. So
Brutal.
you know,
They were brutal.
yeah, group suffer.
Group
check 'em out.
suffer, dude. Punk as fuck.
So it's just cool to be able to like to work together and you know do it all together and play and have fun together. So
Right.
and for you guys even like we hit y'all up. We were like, y'all don't know us, dude. Like
Yeah.
who are these dudes from Austin?
Right.
And instead of being like, nah, dude, we can't like play that show. Our bass player's out of town. Like you're like, no, come over and come record a podcast. We're like, dude,
Yeah.
that's so sick.
Yeah.
Because that's how you like build the scene, build friends, build you know everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, also, you guys reached out to us. I mean, that's already, like, super fucking nice, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't have to. You could have, like, reached out to another group or whatever, you know, it doesn't matter. So it was cool that you guys even thought that. And, no, I would have loved to play the show, you know what I mean? It would have been fucking dope. And especially, New World is a great fucking venue, so I'm stoked.
They
you know,
got
that you
good
guys are
sound
doing
there.
that.
It's
You
beautiful.
can be able to
looking,
hear
too.
yourself like in the words you speak in.
Yeah.
And I love it's like so rare in a venue.
It can
Your
be.
own fucking-
I love it when you can hear yourself.
Hey.
Hey,
That's
damn.
we had that, right? Like that same thing, and I'll say like last night, it was funny because I step out, we do a little fire drill on one of our songs on the new record, Habitable Zone, the title track. I try to pull out my best Anthony Kiedis, but it didn't work well last night. But I come out and try to do the front man thing, and Riley switches it up, plays drums, Rankin takes the bass. But last night it was even like I typically use Rankin's mic usually when I'll come to the front. And like last night I was like I could barely hear myself through that, and so I wasn't sure if you felt that way, but it's kind of like that, man. The you know, you kind of psych yourself when you're on stage of like if I can't hear myself or if I but one thing that I think we've learned or we've been like focusing in on is just like play the best show, you know, get through it, and then you assess if you go back to that venue or whatever again. Or,
Yeah.
you know, did you have something to add?
No, yeah, monitors are so important.
Hearing yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hearing yourself good.
I'm all about it.
That's something like, so the bass player that isn't here, unfortunately, he's like kind of like playing shows for the first time really in his life. I mean, we kind of played together like back when we were 15, 16, but he hasn't played for years. So it's like going back to that and like having to explain to him like, you're going to have to get used to not hearing yourself. Like that shit happens so often where like the monitors are just not too loud. You know, if you put them too loud, it starts feedbacking. And it's like, would you rather have the feedback or would you rather like kind of know exactly like how you're supposed to be playing and it's sounding decent out there? You know what I mean? So it's like,
I almost never get monitors where I'm at on stage, unfortunately.
and you're
Like,
playing keys.
Yeah,
So
I'm
it's
just
like,
kind of doing it by feel a lot of times.
yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It's difficult.
Like that's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's like this guitar is way too fucking loud.
He has a
He's-
twin reverb.
He's got a new bass rig,
I
and
think
it's too loud.
Where we come from though, it's all DIY. Like we don't have a manager, we don't have you know a sound guy, we don't have any of that. Like
Yeah.
we're all DIY. So like the expectation is you got to be able to control it yourself, and
Yep.
and you got to get through it and just do the best you can with what you got. So
That said, oh, sorry. I was going to say, that said, if there's any managers out there looking for bands to manage, it's a DM.
I think we're doing okay by ourselves, but
And we
I
are
thi-
not easy to manage.
yeah, just the being independent and just understanding that you know you go play like we played Stubbs in Austin, which is a huge venue, and then you come play you know like with no PA or whatever, you know, like it's the huge range of what you get. So
Yeah.
being able to adapt, I think, is what is most important. Otherwise, the rock and roll doesn't get played. So
Right. And I think too, like going on tour, or especially in like places you've never played at, it'll really test whether or not this is meant for you. You know what I mean? Because like I know we've played shows where like no one's there, for example, and you're just like, this is hard, but I'm having a good time still. You know what I mean? And it's
They're on. Yeah.
yeah,
dude, I had that same thought the other day, but like then I looked over and I saw Reef just grinning, and I was like, dude, at the end of the day, like we're on stage rocking out, playing the music that we wrote. Like, what else? What do you
Yes.
want to do?
If Andrew's happy, I'm happy.
That's good. Dude, the pressure's on you, bro.
I gotta maintain expectations.
You're good.
No, but yeah, that's legit, like the thing, and the fact that this is your first national tour. So what other cities are you guys hitting?
This is actually the last stop. Our show tonight. We left Dallas last Thursday, hit Houston on Friday, and then Tallahassee on Saturday. And then we played in Orlando on Tuesday, and then we played in Jacksonville yesterday, and then today is Saturday. So I guess those like 6 stops. So we're stoked. We went all the way down the shaft to Florida and back up.
Good experience, right?
Yeah.
It was cool. I enjoyed it. But I like what you said though about like it tests like, are you meant for this? Are you like you know? I played. Hey, you know, it's Scott's first band. It's a lot of these guys' first tour. So now
Is that right?
I played with No, Andrew and I went out. I've been out twice with this band that's really doing well for themselves. Shout out to the Waters. It's a couple from Austin that moved, and they had been musicians all over. But anyways, I went out with them, and it was the same thing. I mean, we went up kind of like, I don't even know what you call that part of the country. Utah, Montana, Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
The West.
The West, I guess. Midwest.
Yeah.
But Midwest, I always think Chicago and stuff. But yeah, like, anyways, it was, you know, same deal back then. It was like you roll into like a really small-ass town in Wyoming, and no one's there. And you're like, well, here we are. Let's just play. Let's rip it up. Like,
Yeah.
So, and that's what I think we've all experienced that on this tour, but it's been badass. We've had enjoyable shows.
No,
I'd
I mean,
say.
we actually, like, we've gotten so lucky, dude. We like, so we're from Dallas except for Ranky, and, like, Deep Ellum is, like, the little arts district down there. We, like, blew it out on last Thursday night.
Hell
like,
yeah, dude.
insanity.
Dallas was fun.
And we go to Houston, where Ranky's from, you know, little lighter on the crowd fan base. But we had our boys come down from Austin and Forever Miles. They're out of Houston too, so like we had a good time seeing them. We hadn't seen them in a while. So yeah, I mean we've gotten, and then in Tallahassee, like out of nowhere, a crowd just shows up and rocked out with us. So
Hell
like,
yeah.
like we had no expectation for Tallahassee, and it's just insane. So
Which venue was it?
it's the Warrior on the River. It's
Okay.
like, dude, it's in the middle of nowhere. We camped out like in the front yard.
Hell yeah.
It was, it was a party for sure. Met shout out to Chadwick, our boy up in Tallahassee. If you see this,
Okay, yeah. Cool.
Damn, I want to hear
Some
that.
of us hung out with him more than others. Let's just say that.
Motor oil hot dog.
yeah.
Yeah,
Probably-
we ate hot dogs, tasted like motor oil. That was tight.
Catch him at the Tallahassee church on Sundays, I think.
Y'all pet a gator yet?
No,
Dude, we haven't seen one yet.
No.
Yeah, come on.
Gator.
That Georgia Florida line. You'll see a lot of
Oh,
signs
yeah.
for baby
Great
gators.
band. Great band. Oh, just kidding. I'm just playing.
Hey man, no judgment, bro.
No, I know.
Like who you like.
Yeah, that's true.
No, so it has been crazy. This was our first tour. We had some help out from a friend, Katie, who helped us kind of book it. She's from this area, Tampa, and you know, once we got going and got all that's why we were reaching out to you guys and a bunch of other bands in the area, like, hey, we're coming through, like, do you want to do something? And you just go with it and see what happens, and here we are. So
Yeah. No, for sure. Like, this is, I mean, Tampa, I don't know what the impression for you guys is, but like Tampa St. Pete is like kind of like not on the it's not on the map right now, I feel like, for most people. And there's definitely a good scene here. Like the thing is, I wonder how different in Austin, like do you guys just have people going to see live music regardless of like what band is playing, or
It depends on the venue. There's some venues that just always have a built-in crowd, and like you always want to play there because it's a good chance to like make new fans. Other venues you got to work a little bit harder to get people to, just so, you know, if it's on the outskirts of town or whatever. But
Okay.
there's quite a few places because it's the live music capital of the world, so there's tons of venues that like people like to go to. People like music there. Everywhere you go out to eat, there's at least a guy with an acoustic guitar playing.
Nice.
Okay, I see. Is
Busking.
there go ahead, sorry.
Just busking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Is there more original music or cover bands?
Cover, I would say, just in general, because there's a big market where, you know, it's like country is king still, just because it's Texas, and so, and it's easily digestible by the masses, I feel like, you know, and so yeah, there's a lot of it, but there's still unique rock and music, and then unique country as well. I mean, it's not all covers, but that's just when I think of Texas and what I'm hearing when I go out. You know, if I roll the dice, it's probably going to be a country or Americana of some kind.
Yeah. It's the difference between a bar and a venue, kind of, you know? Like, if you're at a bar, it's more likely there's going to be a cover band playing there because just people want to sing along when they're drunk or whatever.
Wagon
But if
wheel.
you're at a venue, it's more likely going to be, like, live music type things. Like, places that are built for music, I feel like, have more, like, original songs.
Right. Yeah, because I just, my impression of Austin was that people just go all the time to see live music. You know what I mean? Especially during like South by Southwest or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to hear you guys say. It sounds like almost like every fucking city in the country. It seems.
Well, I think there is something unique about Austin in the sense that like it does have a live music vibe in the sense that like there is an expectation that you'll be able to see a band and they're gonna be good.
Yes.
You know?
I've heard that. Yeah. Definitely.
There aren't bands in Austin that last very long that don't have their shit together, you know?
Right.
So I think that is something that's pretty unique about Austin. And
You think that has to do with like how oversaturated things are?
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
yeah, because you just won't get booked. Like
Yeah.
you go one place and you know they don't appreciate it or you don't communicate well. I mean, there's so much more that goes into being in a band than just playing the music. But
And the city's just growing a lot. Like, people are moving from all over, and like musicians are coming there as well. The city looks great.
What did you say?
Oh,
The
no.
city looks great.
It's just our warm up.
Oh.
Whenever we drive into a new city. Oh man, the city. Oh man, the city looks great.
It's-
Yeah, fucking
Sorry.
Joe Rogan moved over there. I feel
Little
like
inside.
all the comedians ended up going over there now, and
All those Californians.
everyone's coming there.
Yeah, it is like, yeah, like to Scott, what he's just said about like how it's growing and how it's moving. It is so, and I don't speak for these guys when I say this, but for me, I've been playing music in the city for a long time. When I got out of school, I mean, Andrew and I both, when we got out of school, were there. So that was like 2011, 2012. So we've been there for a while.
yeah,
I personally, again, I don't speak for you guys. I find it there's a level that is a bit of like, there's all these people that we're going to elevate in the city, that the city gets behind and pushes, and then there's everybody else. So it's like you have these people that can get and pack out those shows and get all the best venues and then it's everybody else is just, we're hustling, you know.
Right.
You're working your ass off, and we're getting, and it comes with time. It takes time, right? 2017, we've been jamming for 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And we're getting, I feel like we're getting there.
But I will say, like, to your point, like, yeah, there is like the A, B, C level of bands, right? You know, you got to work your way up the ladder. The A level bands, the city has funding for. You know, you got healthcare, you get
What?
sponsorships.
Yeah,
Oh,
art.
dude,
Well,
that's what I'm
he's-
saying. That's
yeah.
what I'm saying is like, they do, like, even though it is like a select few group of musicians that do get that, like the top tier status in Austin, but like, dude, they hooked them up real good. So
that's fucking.
Yeah, so it's like, shout out to HAM, Health Alliance
Yeah,
of
Health Alliance
Austin
for
Musicians. It's like, if you're a working musician, then they'll cover you if you don't have health insurance and
Holy
stuff. So it's pretty
shit.
badass in that regard. I mean, there's things like that.
Yeah, we don't have anything like that, so that's fucking crazy. At
What's
least I
that?
think
What
we
would be
do.
the acronym for like Tampa Alliance of AMPA musicians?
Tampon.
Tampon?
Hey.
No, I do. I
Tamponian.
think it's interesting how like the city of Austin claims to be the live music capital of the world, but then they do deliver stuff like that. Like, you know, they have kind of services in place to support live music. And when COVID hit and all the bars shut down, they had a fund for the musicians who, like, if you needed food or whatever, like if you needed healthcare, they're there for you. So
Right.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Are any of y'all full-time musicians, or is this you're doing the balancing act?
Balancing.
Yeah, we're all
It's tough.
Yep, same. I mean, I know the
Same.
struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of
Yeah.
us.
Do you have ambition to become the full-time, or are you comfortable where you're at balancing?
I enjoy the balance because I do a lot of things with, like, I'm prideful in that I love to explore many facets. This is my passion, and I don't want a boss.
Yeah.
And do I want to live off music full time? Yeah, sure, absolutely. But right now I enjoy the balance of having multiple facets to explore in my life, and then I do a little, I do audio engineering for the band, and then I'm in the band, and then on top of that, I study programming and all these things. So I think for me, I enjoy the balance, and that I'm never left like adrift with just stuck in one place or stuck with these guys permanently. Wink, wink. But yeah,
Hey,
no,
man.
I enjoy the balance a lot, and to go full time, that's a really great question. Obviously, if the money's there, I would do it. And if the mental health was there, I'd do it. But yeah, for me, it's songwriting,
important.
and it's that creation process, which is the biggest thing on top of all the stuff I just talked about. And that is the voice I have to get out.
Yeah. What about y'all?
Yeah, I just don't see like financially how it would work unless you like hit it
Austin's
big with something.
expensive.
Like there's no
Yeah.
way you pay 5 dudes a full salary doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
We made like $40 last night. So
Yeah.
I don't see it happening.
Yeah. No, for sure. You'd have to hit a certain point where you got like you're packing out shows. Even
Yeah.
then, like that's still tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's crazy because it's like, for example, like I think all three of us, I would think so. Like we're all kind of on the same page where we eventually would like to be able to quit our day jobs.
Yeah.
Sounds like you enjoy your day job.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
a little bit.
Some of
Yeah.
us have more enjoyment for our day jobs than others.
Oh, for real?
I won't say who. I don't want to call anybody out if bosses are watching.
No, but that's great. I mean, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like if you have that, that would be ideal. Unfortunately, like for me, for example, like my job is okay, but it's not what I want to do. You know what I mean? It's like I'd rather do music. So it's like if that fucking works out that way, I'd be
even the
happiest.
podcast, like you're creating, like if you're
Yeah.
doing that and you're being creative, like even this is part of it. So
Right.
it doesn't all have to be just like ticket sales. It can
Yeah.
be, other ways of generating revenue. So I think that we've actually kind of figured that out over, like Andrew's self-taught in what he does. I'm pretty much self-taught in what I do. So you just gotta like figure it out.
Yeah.
And create.
Yeah, if you want it, like you can definitely do it.
Yeah.
Like that's another thing like I'm starting to learn. I mean, I think there's a lot of luck that plays into things, but I also feel like the kind of work that you put out into it, that's really what like dictates whether or not you succeed or whatever it is, It's a marathon. It's not
a marathon,
race. Yeah.
I totally think the pudding is in the doing. Like, if you listen to doubt, you'll never go anywhere and you'll just rot. But if you do it, just keep pushing, marathon.
And I think that's why we're out here on the road, is because it was like, well, we've played Austin for 4 years now. Let's get the fuck out of here. And go.
That's the logical step. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
go ahead. Sorry. No, you go.
I was just saying, I love leaving Austin and seeing the crowds in other cities. Like, man, the response is just, it really feels special. And Austin is special too because our base camp team is there. But just hitting the road and making all new fans is a really special experience. I love that.
Yeah.
It's traveling too,
Yeah.
Like that's the best
Seeing
part.
the country.
Yeah.
And I
Like,
feel like we put on a really good live show, and like the people that come to our shows regularly, they've seen it all before.
Right.
So every time there's a new person in the audience, they'll come up to us afterwards and be like, "You guys are so much. I can tell you're having so much fun on stage." And as you play in one scene over and over, you miss that sometimes. So it's nice to like go somewhere else and get that reinforcement from a full audience instead of just the couple people here and there.
Right.
So true.
So let me ask you guys like about kind of like social media and all this stuff. Yeah, because it's tough.
Yeah,
Okay,
brother's got
let me
this
put
question.
my mic down.
So with, I guess, like, do you feel like with the technology that we have now, do you think it's easier or do you think it's harder for bands to kind of like get themselves out there?
I don't know. I've been doing it long enough to know what it was like back when you had to sell records and stuff like that. But I think that it does give us the channel to be like, hey, this is what the fuck we're doing. If you care, check it out. If you don't care, then whatever. But I think as a band, we try and do our best to, you know, show what we're doing and entertain just the way that we do on stage, because I feel like if people are gonna like come out and pay money to see you, they don't just want to like enjoy your music. They want to like have a good time and enjoy like the scene and every. They want to know who Jordan is. They want to know who Andrew is. They want to know who Rankin is. And
They don't want to know me.
well, where's Scott?
Everybody's like, "Where's Scott?"
Sorry,
Where's
Scott.
Scott? Where's Scott?
You're out of here, Scott.
No, but I think that social
Get this guy
media,
a
to your
PA.
question, does like enable us to do that. Like, especially on this tour, you know, we're just like generating content, and Andrew's got a camera and he's filming. So, yeah, if it would be cool if we had somebody dedicated to that, but
Yeah.
I don't, you know, we do it ourselves. We're DIY.
Right.
I think it's just such a double-edged, you know, sword. It's like it allows you to build and grow and do all those things, right? It gives you the capability. At the same time, it's so easy to fake. It's so easy to like, you know, put up something flashy, and then like what we all pride ourselves in is like the badass live performance.
Right.
So it's like we can put out a badass piece of content and like, oh, someone likes it, oh, ha ha ha. But it's like we'd rather, you know, be able to show you that like live in person. And I just use that from my own, like when I browse social media and I see bands or artists or something that I like, and then you go and you're like let down,
Yeah.
and you're like, man, it was so cool on your like tweet or your Instagram post, and then you clearly don't like. Have you ever played a show before?
I've
like
literally been let down.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and that's tough, but I think it's the opposite for us. We're like struggling on like the content generation, and when you get to our show, but you don't get to, unless you get lucky, you don't get to pack out a crowd that's there to see you,
Right.
unless you have done, you know, the work to get there in the first place.
So I think that, like, this is your first national tour. I think performing in that way where people who actually come to see you guys and you guys are entertaining as fuck, the music is awesome, you guys put on a great show. I think in the long run, that's going to bring people coming back rather than the people that see like, oh, that Instagram fucking post look cool, shit, let me go see this band.
For sure.
You go see the band and they're garbage, and then they're like, oh, well, fuck that band, you know what I mean?
No, and this is one thing that you know, a band that we toured with the first two stops, Dallas and Houston. What I learned from them is Billy King and the Bad Bad Bad, and what they did is they played like 300 shows in a year in like 2017 or 2018. They grinded their asses off, you know. And I remember seeing like 2 or 3 nights a week they were playing, and you're just like, I'm not gonna go see these dudes like that many times, but like that's what it takes is like to play that many shows, and I respect that. Like that's why what you always come back to, the music is what matters most. Is like, do you rock or do you not?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like, I mean, I can say for us, for example, like, I know that our music is not necessarily the most accessible to people, you know, but we try and put on the best fucking show that we can, you know, like, just try to make it entertaining, as entertaining as possible. You know, if someone comes to watch us, it's like, I don't really care for that song per se, but, like, they fucking jam their asses off, you know, and that's, like, I feel like that's huge, to me at least, I don't know, but,
I think leaving an impression and like an experience for them, like providing an experience, is almost more important when trying to get out there as a musician than even the music. Because if you're a really funny musician, at least you connected to them in that way, you know what I mean? Or you were ridiculous on stage, you gave them a story, you know? So,
Oh, I guess I was thinking about like social media and stuff like that, and kind of winding a little bit back to that. And I think it's definitely, to Jordan's point, it's like a double-edged sword. I kind of think it demystifies us in that sometimes it's like too much content and it's like not really targeted at music per se, and it's maybe building a personality, and which can feel sometimes inauthentic because we're for me personally, and then also, you know, yes, you need social media, but I always wonder, for me, my personality, I'd rather be like a mystery, and then you come see me and you're like, wow, and then they're like, that's really cool, versus like, here's me, I'm dancing for you, always on your phone, I'm a ballerina.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, I know those guys, they're funny, but like instead they're like, that's just something.
No, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Like, if I didn't have to do any of that shit, I would
to.
be so happy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the way that people, fucking take in music nowadays, you have to do that. You have to show yourself. Like, that's why we started this podcast, for example, is like having our personalities. Like, this is like the most comfortable way I feel about like doing that for people. Like, being able to just, like, for example, you guys have been talking now, and people can kind of get like a reference to like what your personalities would be just regularly, just from talking along, a nice conversation. You get what I mean? So it's like, that's kind of why, like, this is my avenue for that. Like, for ourselves, like, people can kind of get to know you by just hearing you talk.
Choice.
But do you know like why is that? Like, you mentioned that that's the way that people take in music and content. Like, why do you think that they require that?
I honestly, man, I just think it has to do a lot with the generation that's growing up. Like,
Attention spans.
Yeah, they're
Like,
used to
stole the words,
like
definitely.
the artists that
Yeah.
got popular, for example, like any of them, let's say like Tyler the Creator, any of these newer artists or whatever, like they're geniuses when it comes to like posting shit, for example. Like, they're like, Tyler's a great example. Loiter Squad. He had a fucking show, you know what I mean? And like, people could see like his silliness and stuff like that. And personally, I wasn't a fan of his music really until recently, where I was like listening to more and more.
Yeah.
But like, Loiter Squad is kind of like where I kind of like got introduced to him, and then started listening to his music and realized like, oh, this shit's actually pretty dope. You know what I mean? So it's like, I guess I'm kind of saying that I'm in that boat as well. But like, I don't know, because I listen to so many bands that I don't know anything about until I listen to them, and then go, I want to learn more about them, and I do the research myself. But I feel like for like the younger generation, having like them liking you first is more important than them enjoying your content.
Yeah.
I can relate to that. I can relate to that totally, because there's sometimes for me, like if I like see, if I hear someone's music and I'm like, oh, I like that, and then like I see an interview with them and they're like an asshole or something, like I'll actually like kind of like not listen to that person's music as much. Like if I think they're kind of a douche, like I'm less inclined to like keep listening. But like if I hear them do an interview or a podcast and I'm like, they seem cool, like then like I'll probably deep dive a little further into, like, for me, listening as a fan.
It's so human too. It makes sense to me to like. It's hard to separate the art from the artist.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I stand in the argument too. Like, if an artist is a shitty person, then I'm not gonna fucking want to listen to them on a record. I'm not gonna buy their record and support them.
Totally.
I have a hard time with Michael Jackson.
I was about to say that.
Yeah,
Bro.
it's just some like.
I was about to say
He's
that.
got so many like bomb songs, but then you're like, but also he's a pedophile.
Yeah.
Well, allegedly. I don't know.
You get
No.
sued, dude.
I think it's pretty. Safe
We went
to say
there.
that.
Yeah.
No, it's.
But I think
Yeah.
the proof is in the fact that you're running a podcast too. Like, you're a multimedia content creator, right? Because at the end of the day, yes, you love rock and roll, but this is what it takes to support the rock and roll and get people listening and get people interested. So,
Right.
like, they give me shit all the fucking time. They're like, "Oh, dude, put your phone away. You're on your fucking social media and shit." They're always talking shit.
I never talk shit to you.
But, like-
I never do.
But like, for the last, however long in prep for tour, like, we've been grinding on social media, trying to like establish ourselves as a legitimate touring band, and just like getting people interested in wanting to know what the fuck we're doing, and so it does drain you a lot, and it's tough. And this is like a more kind of like the podcast, at least, is more controlled environment where you get to like, you produce your content here and then you're done, or whatever.
More holistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, definitely.
just the constant like creating content, it's tough.
It
for
is tough. Now imagine the people that grow up and it's just normal for them.
Yeah.
Like, they want to be, on social media all the time. Like, they just don't. Like, for us, it's like kind of like tiring, but for some certain people, it's just like normal for them. And then those end up being the people that get like way further along faster.
It must be nice. I just can't bring myself to. I hate social media. I can't do it.
Yeah, it's weird. And maybe it's our age. Maybe that's what it is, because it's like kind of new for us. I don't know. But like, definitely, I'm in the same exact position. Like
making
we're
me
you know,
feel old.
I don't know. I'm
None
20.
of us are old.
Yeah,
None of us
I'm
are old.
28.
we
didn't
have social
Yeah.
We also have to acknowledge we wouldn't be here if it weren't for
That's
Instagram,
true.
you know?
Yeah.
So like we wouldn't even know y'all if it weren't for Instagram.
I read y'all heard of Herbie Hancock, the jazz musician?
Yeah.
I read his book, and in his book he said like he challenged himself to work with younger artists throughout his career, and he accredited that to his success in like the 90s and the 80s. Because associating with those younger jazz musicians got him with the younger audience, naturally each time. And he would adapt new synthesizers and always buy the new technology because he knew that's where the world was headed. And he has to experiment with these things and not stay on the fucking Rhodes piano his whole career.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what was so cool about having those kids out last night. Like, dude, like I used to go to punk shows back, you know.
Riley and I
Wood
saw
used-
ourselves right there.
Dude,
were
we
like,
used to circle up in the pit and fucking bash.
Ghost of Christmas Past. Yeah, we were like,
No,
I was
but
like,
then-
I remember when I told the audience to eat my ass or whatever. Well, I still do, but it's,
No, but then you see
it's in a
these
different
kids-
context now.
You see these kids out there doing it, and you're just like, dude, you know, they're having fucking fun, dude. So.
Do you feel like you know, like been kind of like you? I mean, I would say we're all kind of like veterans at this. Like, do you like kind of feel like, oh, I should give them some advice, you know, or whatever? Like,
I definitely, there was one kid, like I could tell his heart was in the music way more above the others, like when as an outsider looking in, just when I saw him on stage, and then he stuck around to watch us when the rest of his band went to go play Puppy Playtime. Who knows? But I mean, and he would just watch from the crowd, and he was really respectful, and he came up and he like wanted to get to know us, and I told him some advice. I said, hey, you should look into studying a little bit of audio engineering, because just you'll learn that language and it'll help you produce better music, and you'll be able to communicate with producers even if you don't fully go into it. So just look into it. You know, so I gave him that advice, and I could sense his real passion amongst all of them.
that's cool.
It was badass, yeah.
He was cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I looked at Andrew when we were standing in the back, and I was like, the guitar player is here for the music. And it not that they weren't.
did say that,
I
and-
literally was watching them all on stage, and they were like, I enjoyed the shit out of it, but I was just watching, and I was like, if any of them continue to play music and do this for a long time, it's going to be that kid right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he was just like in the zone. The rest of them were there. They had all their friends there, and they were just. But that kid was like, I gotta play. Oh fuck that chord. Oh
No
this
frills.
thing. Oh, like dude, he was lit.
Yeah,
And
he
then
was-
and then the two guitars, he picked their brains after the show, and like they talked to him, and it was cool. That's the real. Honestly, that was one of the better moments of this whole trip. It was like being able to just shoot the shit with these other bands. It's
Right.
like, and take the moment. Like what was the guy last night? It was we were like, well, we played after that band, or we played last tonight, and all this stuff. And then the sound dude Mike, he's like, listen, when you're on the road, don't play last. If you like haven't played for any of this audiences before, don't play last. And we were like, yeah, we kind of thought about that throughout
Second,
this.
always second.
Second.
Yeah.
Or it just put me in the middle.
Yeah.
Like, because if the last band brings 10 people and we play in the middle, that's 10 people.
Yep.
And if we play last and they bring 10 people and then they all fucking leave,
Yep.
nobody sees us.
Yep.
And it, again, to your point, empty room, you keep playing, we keep rocking. We get better as a band, even if no one sees us.
Play the bartenders.
Hell yeah.
That's it.
Exactly,
I mean, we're
exactly.
gonna be playing music anyway. At least we get to play in like different locations.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
don't show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Learning
Hell
how to be
yeah.
on the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One huge thing I learned was just we played in Houston to a pretty light crowd at like 12:30, and like I was like had been drinking, and I just was belting it because I was like, I love music, and like this is me.
That's wholesome.
Then no,
was.
it was
It was so
wholesome at that
beautiful.
moment. I had this cool like, yeah. I get off stage, smoke cigarette, drink another beer. We get on the RV, and dude, my throat is wrecked.
Yeah.
Absolutely wrecked. And I'm like, dude, noob move. Like I'm touring my first tour, and I'm like just wrecked my vocals on the smallest crowd, and I've got a show tonight. and I was like, crap. And we had to go through like, I wasn't like a freak out, but we had to Ricola.
Yeah.
We were like, and,
All of our singers, I think everybody just
We
went
were
so
all like,
hard on the first 3 days. They're like, all right, we're on tour, let's go. And like partying too hard. And then
You know, that was so funny too, because we were like, okay, let's play CUC first tonight. It's a good opener. Let's get it. And then I always can gauge Andrew because he comes out hot out of the gate, so energized, sings the second verse first, and I'm in the back because we dual vocal that song, and I'm like, to see, and then he goes, you know, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going with him. Second verse, and then I looked at him in the first chorus part, and I'm like, dude, first verse this time, first, like back here. I'm like, so then we did that, but that's the stuff I love. That's what I live for.
Musical communication.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, it is fun because like
Hilarious.
I look at Jordan, I see him back there. He's like, like, dude, you know what? Yeah, we're on the wrong fucking verse. Fuck it, let's go.
You know what the cool thing too is, like, this show is gonna be your best show, and I don't know about like the crowd per se, but like playing wise, I know for a fact because like when we've been on tour, like you like those first 2 shows or whatever, like those are like almost like the practices, and then like the rest of it, you're just like enjoying the fuck out of it. Like, oh, I know these songs like the fucking
Unwind.
back of my hand by now. You know what I mean?
we're all pretty tight by now.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, so that's really cool.
We've been mixing the set list up a little bit, but I think we've been playing the songs for a long time.
Go Buck
so-
Wild, man, tonight.
Yeah, dude,
Go
we're
Buck
playing
Wild.
with Gary Laser Eyes and the Resonance. We're playing the middle.
Yeah.
So-
The Resonance, yeah, is that? Do y'all know? Have heard
No,
of
I don't
them?
know either of those
I think they're
bands.
Tampa. It said Tampa. It says they're from
Yeah,
Tampa.
So we're excited for that one. It's gonna be, I think, the right way to close out the tour.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely. Yeah, what time are we at, by the way? Okay, cool.
Ooh,
Well, yeah,
yeah.
appreciate you guys
Hell
so
yeah.
much coming.
Yeah, dude.
you
Yeah,
know.
thank you for having
We're
us.
definitely gonna try and make the show. We do have another podcast
Yeah,
after
no
this,
worries.
Right.
but yeah, man, thank you guys so much for coming, and good luck tonight, man.
Thank you.
Take it
Thank
easy.
you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, much
Yeah, have a
respect.
good
Great to
one.
talk to you.
It was awesome. Thank you.
Great guitar tone.